But in terms of being satisfied, she was not likely to be that easily satisfied by anybody. Unstable, integrating homes, integrating things. She was already in an elite, unstable environment. She got out of it by being married, but she got into another one being married. So that was there. But her Venus was opposed to his sun. His confidence would oppose her satisfaction. I just want this. Hey, how about make me feel so good? Like, well, her confidence squares his sun. So what he wants threatens her sense of confidence. It affects her sense of what's right and wrong. It affects his social sense of who we can meet or where we can go, or how we're going to dress or whatever. Just lightly talking about any one of these things, you can go spend hours on contemplating and seeing how it's manifested in a person's life, in their lives. In fact, this is like, there's no simple way of doing relationships. It's sophisticated, it's complicated, but if you have thorough histories, you know some people well, you can fill these gaps in and know it very well as you think you can. So now Mars, how they each want to do things, their desire to do things. Her Mars is in Virgo, fussy in the 8th house. She's picky about what we have to do, about doing things together, but her strength is in doing things, but she wants a system, and it's conjunct Pluto. So she's really strong in doing what's needed, being part of the team for the kids, for the family, for the relationship. I'm going to do this. But it opposes her moon, and her Mars opposes her moon, and her squares Venus. So she's edgy. She can get angry. She can get irritated easily, and can control her own energies when she has to. So if you're telling her you have to do this, she may not want to do that. She can do it if she thinks it's real, but if she doesn't want it, why would she do it? She has the control. Pluto on the Mars. So his Pluto. It has no aspects. His Mars has no aspects to it. It's in the 5th house of performance, of play. His values of what he wants to be satisfied, his dreams, his fantasies are Neptune. His Mars is not afflicted. It's in Sag. Try this, try this. It's adaptable. His Mars is in Sag. Wanting to run around and play. Want to go fox hunting on the. Her Mars is in Virgo. A little more fussy. You want to do what? Want to kill an animal? Like so. I'm just taking some examples, but her Mars goes into his 2nd house. Her social sense of what we need to do goes into, she wants to do what she has to do, but it's going to go into his house of resources and money and values. He's going to see her doing things at his expense. And it conjuncts his Saturn and squares the Sun. So he's going to want to put restraints on what she can do. So Saturn trying to put restraints on Pluto conjuncting Mars doing something. So she wants to do things together. The 8th house, we'll do this, and he's saying, no, I don't want to do that. This is how it's going to be. So like, you can see the block. It's easy to talk after the fact, looking at these things. It's more challenging to realize it plays out like this when someone's alive and they're both there doing it. But his Mars in Sag, which is multifaceted, I want to do this, it's not necessarily monogamous. It's in her his Mars goes into her first house, conjunct to her ascendant. I'm doing this. I see what you want to do. I see what you want to do. But so he's naturally going to push her identity. You got to do this. She sees that. She's going to respond to that. But he doesn't respond the same way to her energy. Just do this. And she's saying, whoa. She has much more restrictions in doing it. And I think some of this is just simple age factors, young woman, old man, good looking woman, not so good looking guy. There's trade-offs, and it's not necessarily appropriate for you to be that straightforward and forward, just expect this, come to this, go this, we're going here, we got to go this, we got to do this. And she's got to juggle the family and everything else to go deal with it. Okay, even his Jupiter in the 5th house, he understands, I want kids, family, I want to be, his playfulness is traveling and going places. His understanding goes into her first house, like the Mars, well, I want to do this, doing this, I understand this, goes into her first house where she's identifying to his understanding, but it's opposing her thinking and her Sun. It opposes her confidence. So she knows he wants things or he understands things, and he's not clued into her. Her understanding her Jupiter's conjunct Saturn, which is generally a good sense of timing. It's squared Neptune, so there's confusion between them. Maybe that's just with royal expectations. But it's in the second house, resources, what to do, what should be done. We should be doing this, we should be able to do this. And it's in Aquarius with her moon. Okay, now, her Saturn and moon, well, the Jupiter, which concerns the Saturn, it's in his sixth house. So she sees what she wants. He's more critical. He wants her energy to be of service to him. She puts the energy as she's trying to help him, but it conjuncts his ascendant, so she feels that Jupiter with the Saturn, her understanding is going on his identity, and it causes him worry because his moon and Mercury isn't reacting, doesn't feel sympathetically connected to it. He's already trying to push, and he's understanding what's going, and he's putting it into his understanding of her first house. She's supposed to see it and align with it, and she doesn't. It's hard to be driven by a car when you think the person driving the car. It's hard to get in a taxi with your kids if you think the driver of the taxi is drunk or out of it, not in control. So, like, I'm not saying he's drunk, but that's just a parallel example. So you go through these layers in the chart. Saturn, her sense of responsibility. Saturn's in her first house. She's serious identity, serious image, squaring the IC-MC. Okay, it's his Saturn's in the second house. No difficult aspects to it, but Saturn in the second house of Virgo, fussy about what he has to do about money and resources, what he's doing. So Jupiter is Mars in Sag, and Jupiter in Sag is not fussy, but the Saturn trying to put some brakes on it. But it conjuncts as he puts his Saturn in, it conjuncts her Mars and Pluto. So her Mars and Pluto, whenever I have to do this, her Saturn comes in saying we have to. He comes in trying to say, and her Mars Pluto is threatened by this. You want me to do what? If I'm doing that to you, why aren't you doing this back to me? Like, why isn't this trading off? So it's so far we're seeing as far from personally enchanting or pleasant relationship, filled with demands and judgments and struggles. The Uranus to shock, her excitement. Uranus is in Leo in the 8th house. She's married to king. She's married to someone who could be king. Shocking. It's exciting. It's noble. It's relatively, but it opposes her moon and squares her Venus. It shakes up. She has this in her natal chart. Her Uranus, she has neuroses around her sense of satisfaction, very great insecurities. I think might have come out as bulimia or something, or not eating for some time, might have come out as other behavioral factors. But even while she was the princess, she did, and bringing up the kids, she did yoga. She did a lot of things to try and keep busy trying to fix her what were made her personal problems, and were probably, every little problem would be exaggerated, not necessarily minimized. Anyways, her Uranus, her excitement goes into his second house of resources and money, and squares his sun, shakes up his confidence. Why are you worried? Why are you upset? I'm just doing my thing. Why would you do that? His sun, his Uranus is in the 11th house. I have all these shocking friends and all these people, and it challenges his understanding. So he can adjust his understanding to be with his friends, his military friends, his other friends, his different friends, like that. Okay, don't forget, he's having the affair with the wife of someone who works for him, who's running the military. It's like a major, a commander, a general who's running the army. Inside of it, normally this would be like treasonous for, like, the woman would be considered treasonous to go against her husband to be with a prince. Like, it was really unstable thing. So his excitement in the 11th house, a lot of exciting friends, it opposes Jupiter in the 5th house. It's in Gemini. Go for it. It's conjuncting his sun. It goes in, his shocking conjuncts her sun and Mercury. Her comment, let's do this, go for the excitement. He's trying to bring the excitement in. She sees it right away, but she's not secure with it. It brings the excitement into the relation. We're doing this, here's one shock after another. So he was never exactly smothering there. He was the shocking, I'm older, I can shock you, I can do this, I can do that, like, this is this. But she didn't see it. But for her, it didn't work the other way. And now Neptune, the belief or dependencies or expectations. his Neptune's in the 4th house around Venus and IC. So his obsessive fantasies and motivated by his even sexual or emotional fantasies of what he wants. He had the most beautiful lady, his most dreamy lady. Had the dream. He puts his dream into her, goes into her 9th house, and she doesn't believe it. She's not. It's not the right understanding. It's squaring off with her confidence. What he wants is building her confidence. Her beliefs is up in the 10th house. I'm being the princess. It squares her Jupiter natally, so she struggles with understanding what has to be done. But it's about status and role playing. But her 10th house puts it into his 4th house, and where it conjuncts his Mercury, opposes his moon, and squares the sun. So he's not going to identify to her dreams. He has his so strongly, but it doesn't build her confidence. She has, and her dreams, he's not even in touch with. That's really complicated. Everyone's minding their business. It's so many expectations, not much clarity between each other. So maybe he's away a lot, probably he's forced away a lot, but when he's away, he's seeing other people doing other things. Who knows? He probably wouldn't explain himself. The confrontation, the Pluto struggle, Pluto conjunction Mars, she's capable of doing anything. She's very strong. In the 8th house, for the partner, it's strong battles around relationship, around sharing, around trust. Okay. He has his Pluto in the 1st house, his identity. He has a fearful control, somewhat controlled identity, not surrendering. And it squares his sun. He's threatened, who am I? I'm the queen's son. I'm going to be king, but I'm not there. So there's always been blocks in his life. Well, his sense of blocks, his power struggle goes into her 8th house of we're together, you can't do this, you can't do this, this is us, this is how we have to ring up the kids, this is how we have to put Pluto goes into her 8th house. Her Pluto goes into his 2nd house of resources. So there was a power struggle around that. In terms of the motivations, his motivation was on that Mercury Venus, squaring her sun in the 9th house. She goes, I don't know, this isn't so good. She thinks he's a bit wacko or out there or obsessive compulsive fantasy. Yeah, perhaps he had a fantasy of how she should be, not a reality of meeting her and relating to her. Her midheaven her IC had no aspects to it. It was conjunct her moon opposed to Venus, part of her major opposition there. So what security? What do you want? What do you want? What security? Her IC to satisfy family is always difficult. It was. Her ascendant conjunct his Mars. His energy, his force drove the day. His ascendant squared her Neptune and Jupiter. So his ascendant, it wasn't believable. It wasn't credible. It caused confusion. It walked into not being believable to her. Okay. So now we've gone through it. That's pretty well a straight run through. I'm not going to spend much more time on it, but in the retrospective, him being together, him having the affair with his employer's wife, his worker's wife, the guy, the sergeant, the commander that worked for him. Imagine his story. The king's sleeping with my wife. What can I do? The prince is sleeping with my wife. What can I do? Do I quit? Do I make a scandal? What do I do? I get killed for this. He should be shot for this. There's other branches off this story. That he ended up staying with Camilla and going back with Camilla and ended up forcing it so she would be his wife and be in his home. She would come into the royal family. And it only happened after